camera if that is possible for you. If you are able to open up and come on camera, that'd be great. Thank you, Anharan. Thank you, Riaz. Okay. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for making time and joining us. So before we deep dive into this topic of gratitude, I'd like to take a moment to ask you to reflect on just two questions that I'd like to put to you. I'm sure all of you may have heard this saying, what we appreciate appreciates. So please take a moment to reflect on something you experienced today that you appreciate very much, and something that you notice in yourself that you're grateful for. So if I'm to share something myself, something I experienced today, when I went and parked my vehicle in the morning, the security guard was very enthusiastic, helped me to park, walked up to me and greeted me saying, good morning, madam. And that warm welcome and his enthusiasm to help me was something I really appreciated and thanked him for. So that was a moment of appreciation, something that I experienced. Something about myself, if I would very humbly say that I am grateful for my ability to be kind to people. That is something I am grateful for about myself. So I'd like you to think of these two questions and just reflect a bit. If you have a pen and paper, maybe you can write your thoughts, or you can open up and share, or even type into the chat. But I'd like it to be a very interactive dialogue session. So be free to open up and talk. So I'll give you a few minutes. Okay. Anyone who would like to share? Yes, Kushali?
Yeah, I can share. So I think something that I experienced today and I appreciate very much is I was able to work from home today after a while. And just that my mom is there for me while I do my work. She's providing me with the food and all of that. So I'm just appreciating that I get that benefit. And something that I'm grateful for is the fact that I was able to spend some time with her also today. So I'm very grateful that I get that time with my mom whenever whenever I have, and whenever I can. So yeah.
Beautiful, Kushani. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. So how often do we stop to ponder and really take that moment to appreciate things like this, which we generally take for granted, right? Anyone else? Is there anyone else who would like to share? No one? Okay, Riaz, thank you. Yes.
To giving me this precious time today. Amidst our busy schedule, I was telling Kushani also. With all the work, I thought I'm going to allocate this 30 minutes or 1 hour. So having allocated, sometimes still you miss it due to work. So I was on another meeting, I got another reminder, Kushani, maybe your system alerted in few minutes. So all these needs to be appreciated. Otherwise, there is a tendency for you to forget things. amidst things that's going on around you. So I'm celebrating this moment, all out to hear what it is.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your appreciation very much. And thank you for making time from your busy schedule and being with us. Really appreciate that. And thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Anyone else would like to share something about themselves that they are really, really appreciating? Anyone? Something about yourself. Very often we don't do that, right? Appreciate the goodness in us.
Okay,
Shiyara, maybe. Go ahead.
I'm Prasad here. Actually, today we had our company health campaign. So we did nearly 20 to 30 tests.
Okay.
Actually, I really appreciate myself. Touch wood, I'm okay with all the tests.
Beautiful. Kudos to you. So you have really taken care of yourself very well, I hear. A moment to celebrate and appreciate. Wonderful. Thank you, Prasad, for sharing with us. Andy, you were going to say something.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to come on camera at the moment, but I will soon. So I think when you said, what is it that you appreciate about yourself? So this is something I've been pondering on in the last couple of months. And I think something I appreciate or notice about myself, which maybe a friend of mine spotted it for me, and I started to appreciate it. And I think for me, that's the courage to sometimes step into the unknown, sometimes to like step into places of growth. Just last week, I think I'm stepping into another place like that. So it's challenging, but I'm really appreciating myself that I am uncomfortable, but still trotting on that space. So I guess that's my reflection at this point. Thank you for the
Andy.
opportunity.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. So as all of you reflected, what is that feeling or the emotion that is at the top of your mind right now? Any emotion that you're feeling at the moment? Any feeling that you'd like to share? Or is it just a state of pondering and wondering and thinking still? Reflection. Okay. So when we engage in the practice of gratitude, right, there are physiological changes that take place in our system. So what is gratitude? Linda Baker, a clinical therapist, says that gratitude is the ability to observe and appreciate the good things in your life and the things that are existing and the things that are happening for you. So when we do take a moment to appreciate the things that are happening in our life or that exist in our life, like Ushani said, her moment with her mom, how she's appreciating it at this moment, right? When we practice this appreciation, the part that engages in our brain in relation to emotions, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, and the prefrontal cortex in the parasympathetic nervous system releases two neurotransmitters, which is dopamine and serotonin, right? So when these two neurotransmitters are released into the system, we experience feelings like pleasure, happiness, calmness, which in turn will allow us to be in a good mood, will help us with our memory, our cognition, how we process. Then our sleep patterns. And in general, bring us to a state of well-being and increase our productivity as well. So, just give me a moment. This got stuck. Let me reshare again, please. So we go into a place where we are emotionally well-balanced, socially affable, and physically, because we are emotionally in a better place, we have a better congruence within us, and we are socially more compassionate, generous, happy, joyful. We are able to create a state of better well-being for us, where we are able to actively engage in our physical activities. Our sleep patterns become better, and we have better health all around, starting from our heart to the entire well-being of our system. So research has shown us, Harvard Health has released a report where it says that even in workplaces, if we do practice in appreciation and the practice of gratitude, where leaders will appreciate an effort of a person or appreciate an initiative of an employee. In such instances, it creates the motivation within the person, how it will also create that interest in that person for the work that they are engaged in, and create an environment where working becomes much more happy and more a collective, collaborative atmosphere. So let me play a video, which I would like all of you to look at, and we'll come back and share our thoughts on what you are noticing there.
The biggest jump in happiness was the least happy person who walked in the door. What does that mean?
Shut up. Shut up.
What? Wait.
I was going to be so embarrassed.
What make you happy? Having fun? Hanging out with friends? Delicious food? Making money? Well, consider this. Psychologists have scientifically proven that one of the greatest contributing factors to overall happiness in your life is how much gratitude you show. Yeah? Think about that. Go ahead and marinate on it for a second. You can thank me later if you want. It'll make you feel better, according to this study. You go ahead and click on it and read it if you want. Or you can keep watching, because we read it. We thought it might be fun to test out for ourselves. We gathered a selection of volunteers to act as our subjects. First, we gave them a test. They didn't know what we were looking for, but it gave us a pretty good idea of their current level of happiness. We asked them to close their eyes and think of somebody who was really influential in their life, somebody who did something really amazing or important for them. We had them write down as much as they could about why this person was so important. Now, a lot of them thought at this point the experiment was over, until we really put them on the spot and tried to get them to call that person and read what they wrote about them. Thank you, Jessica. We're going to have you call your mother. So who is that right person for you?
Person is my sister, Erica.
We're going to give Erica a call.
Okay.
Who'd you end up picking?
Friend of mine, Craig Ains. Her name is Dora.
My college accounting instructor.
Really? Is this somebody you're still in touch with today?
No, I'm assuming that he's passed on.
That's a
To the
shame.
great beyond.
You up for it?
Yes.
What would you say if we called up Dora?
Oh, well, we can try, but she lives in Britain.
In Britain?
I don't know number by heart, dude. This is awful.
That's fine. I don't know my mom's number by heart.
If it's true that those who are gone on are looking down on us, maybe you'd be a nice chicken scratch.
Hey, sweetheart.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
You got a second? Where you at? Hotel?
I am. I'm in the hotel. You scared me when you asked if I had a second something wrong.
No, I'm on like this little TV show, and they told me to talk about the person that influenced me the most, and I picked you, and they're making me call you. They're making me call you.
Oh, wonderful.
Hi, Richard Craig. I'm not here right now.
At the tone, please record your message. Oh, come on. Hello?
Hi,
Hi.
Erica. It's me.
All right, so I got to read you this paragraph. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, sweetheart.
All right, the person that influenced me the most would be my mother, Marlo Dawson. She is a single mother of two. She is a very hard worker and dedicated to her family.
Hey, Craig. This is Loie. This is going to be a funny little voicemail, so I hope you enjoy it. I'm so sorry for calling you at 4 o'clock in the morning. I have to read this to you, okay? And you can't say anything, or I don't know. You can respond, but I probably will just keep going. Okay?
Is everything okay?
Yes, but I have to read this out loud to you.
The person who has had the biggest impact on my life outside of Jesus Christ, who was responsible for my existence, was my college accounting instructor. He had a joy and enthusiasm for his job like no other teacher I have ever known.
I love her to death, and she keeps me going with positive talk. She is a woman that knows what she wants and won't give up until it is achieved.
Oh, so good. I'm about to cry because it's so beautiful. I have to say that it's wonderful.
I first met Craig on an independent feature film set in Whitefish, Montana. I recently have been sending Craig a lot of positive thoughts as he suffered a series of health problems. Despite his medical problems, he's continued to work and take pleasure in the small things in life, like sitting quietly with his wife, Janine, on the porch. Erica is my older sister and my best friend. Sometimes it even feels like we are twins. She's my #1 fan and my #1 supporter. She makes me happy because despite all my mistakes and my decisions, she still loves me no matter what. Your friendship is everything. And you are one of the most important person in my life. Even when she has a kid and many children, I will love her more than her kids. Okay, maybe not. I will never forget when she flew 3,000 miles at the drop of a phone call to save me from a breakup.
And being blessed to have a son like you. I love you.
Bye.
Why did you do that?
I don't know because thank you for picking up. Bye, sweetie. And then they're like, here, you're gonna write this letter. And then I wrote like this whole long ass letter, which, I like don't write. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, guess what? Now we're gonna call her and you're gonna read her this letter. I was like,
Before we let them go, we gave our subjects one more happiness test. Now, we mixed up and rephrased the questions so they didn't know they were taking the same test twice. For those who took the time to actually write something down but couldn't make the phone call for whatever reason, we saw happiness increase between 2 and 4%. Good, but not exactly mind-blowing. Now, for those who actually picked up the phone and personally expressed their gratitude, we saw increases between 4 and 19%. So either way, expressing your gratitude will make you a happier person. But you want to know something really interesting? The person who experienced the biggest jump in happiness was the least happy person who walked in the door. What does that mean? That means if you're having a particularly tough time, trying this out will more likely have a greater impact on you.
So what's coming up for you?
Mental lab code. In fact, while you're at it, film it and upload it to us.
What's coming up for you as you watch this? So the more we engage in the practice of gratitude, we create neuron pathways that rewires our brain. And the more we engage in the practice of gratitude, the more positivity we create within ourselves and embrace all the profound values that gratitude brings to us. So when our brain is being rewired with gratitude, your heart rate improves, the blood pressure decreases, and it has been proven scientifically that there are correlations between the levels of high levels of gratitude and the low levels of depression. So whether it is our mental well-being, our physical well-being, our emotional well-being, gratitude plays a great and very important part to help us create this positive energy within us. So what are some ways in which we can inculcate this practice of gratitude? Anybody who engages in any practice of gratitude currently? Anybody who'd like to open up and share?
Hi, so maybe I will add some point onto that. I actually try that one. So every day before go to bed, as a habit, I just write down like 3 things I'm grateful for the day, and 3 things I appreciate it. But actually, I have a few questions. Maybe I will wait till the end of your presentation to ask this question. This is one of the things that I really came for this as well. But yes, at the moment, this is what I do. I usually write it down.
Okay, thank you very much, Anharan, for sharing. Yes, we'll open up for questions a little later. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? So I'm just curious, Anharan. So do you experience any change in this since you started this practice? Is there anything that you would like to share with us on that?
Okay, yeah. So this is okay, maybe that's a question I should put forward. So say when I was appreciating someone else, right? So that moment, I actually even if I'm appreciating my coworker or mom or sister or anyone, so I also really get really happiness. That change I really noticed, like in a massive way. In the medium, obviously, the humans, we love to be appreciated by others. When somebody does the same to me, of course, that happiness is different. But of course, my question is, the question that I want to ask you as well. But whenever I started to do self-gratitude, like for myself and appreciation, but I don't know, I didn't feel that much of a happiness that I was doing to others or receiving from others.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the question basically I want to ask, whether I'm doing something wrong or is it natural this happens?
So how do you say it to yourself? Would you like to share some, like how you appreciate yourself?
Okay, so for an example, even the last night thing is one thing, because yesterday I had a bit of a very bad incident happened with my business. So one thing is then my little niece came. So I was thankful, writing a thankful to her, saying that, because of her, I completely forget all the problems, and I was playing with her. I forgot everything. And the second thing is even whatever the obstacles came, I was so happy that I never give up on my startups. I'm still moving forward with that one. So this is the 2 things that I have written last night, right? So this is how I usually write it. And then what I do is, because one of the practice I read it somewhere. So what I do is I write it in the night, and then again I read these things in the morning, the moment I wake up.
Okay. So I'm just wondering, right? As we say, lots of our values, our beliefs are what support us in who we are, right? So why I asked you the question as to, so what do you really say to yourself when you are being grateful about yourself? How do you recognize that? Perhaps you can take perhaps say kindness maybe you take an instance where you really showed that kindness to someone. And perhaps you reflect on the impact it created for that other person in that moment. So if you looked at this video, you would have noticed, right? When they made that phone call to that other person and appreciated that other person, you could hear the receiver's happiness in their tone of voice. And you could see the facial expression, gesture, everything that reflects the person who is expressing how they are appreciating that moment. In the physical gesture and expression and facial expressions, you see that, isn't it?
Yes.
So what I would like to suggest to you is perhaps when you value something about yourself, maybe go into that act of how it took place.
Okay.
If you are a visual person, maybe you can visualize that act.
Right.
So that visual picture will really recreate that feeling for you.
Okay.
Through the receiver, you will see the happiness. So it's a two-way thing, right? The serotonin and dopamine gets created in the brain of the receiver as well as the giver.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that is how we experience in our system that pleasurable feeling, the calmness or the happiness or the joy. So one anchoring way would be, I would suggest that you really perhaps visualize, or if you're an auditory person, perhaps you can again probably close your eyes and visualize that, hear what you hear for yourself. So creating that moment for you, because science has proven, scientists and therapists and psychologists, if you read on research, say that even if you take a picture of a moment in your life that you're really appreciating, say a photograph, if you go back to it, if you take a childhood photograph, you go into those happy memories.
Yes.
You
Yes.
reflect on it so that it becomes an anchor for you to create that feeling in you, the positive feeling in you. So it's something like that. So just merely saying, oh, I'm grateful for my being kind, if I'm just merely saying the words, perhaps it may not mean anything to us because we are not really being there with that thought and that feeling.
Mhm. Yeah, you're right, because like, okay, so say when I'm actually like, saying it to other person, because there will be a lot of reaction comes from them. So that moment was awesome. But where like I'm mostly talking about when I'm doing it by myself. So even you're right, because there was this also happens about a week ago, maybe like, one of the old video when I was seeing it, as you said, yes, we actually went into that moment and it's gave that every like, the feel. So maybe we'll see. Okay, maybe now I'm just doing like a habit, just doing that because I want to do it. So should like, take a little bit of a step, maybe even not 3 things every day, but pick up at least one thing and have to like, really immerse into it, think about it. And yeah, I'm a kind of a visualized person. I like to like, visualize everything. So probably will try that.
Yes. I think that's a good thought, because we have these things, we say, oh, I'm going to think of 3 things, 5 things. We do it to make ourselves feel good, right? Oh, I thought of 3 things. But if you really, really do just one thing, not even every day, but once or twice a week, perhaps intentionally be there, you will notice the difference.
Okay. Yeah, I think
You can try it out and share it with us also.
Yes,
Experience.
sure.
We would like to hear from you.
Sure do. Sure will
Thank
do.
you, Aniharan. So it was very enlightening and it was a really good discussion with you. Anyone else who would like to add anything to it or share your experiences or anything like that? Yes, Andy.
Yeah, I really love that Einharren, right? That's how I pronounce your name.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, like the thoughts that you brought in, and it kind of took me to a moment, and I was pondering on this whole piece of appreciation and gratitude. And I think personally, I'm just reflecting back to see what happens to me when I appreciate other people. And I think what's there is connection, there is contribution. So there's a lot of things that kind of get stimulates when you appreciate another. But of course, when you're appreciating yourself or when you're receiving an appreciation, there are a lot of triggers also that get entangled in terms of fear of judgment, fear of, or even naturally we have this whole thing of, our own imposter. Am I ready to receive this appreciation? So personally, I can tell you, like, from childhood, like I think, like even in our kind of curriculum, teachers very easily found fault with us, but appreciation was something that came um, quite quite a little. And I would say, like, when I grew up as an adult, I learned to receive appreciation because it felt very uncomfortable initially when people used to appreciate me. I used to sometimes not feel comfortable in my own skin to receive it. And then I hear what you're saying because I can completely relate to it. So scientifically, for me, I think there's a lot that gets triggered in us when we're receiving. But when we're giving, it's a lot of connection and stimulus that happens. So it creates a lot of positive emotions as a result, while there's a tendency to trigger a few negative emotions when we're receiving. And I believe, like Shiyara has shared, to bring equilibrium to that, the best way is to really work on self-appreciation, uh, like recognizing one's worth and strength. So I think that's where my thoughts are. Amazing discussion.
Thank you very much, Andy. Yes, I can really relate to what Andy is saying because I have also struggled in really receiving appreciation sometimes. So that is a place I think we need to notice and really see what's happening within us. So I will tell you another thing that I do with my youngest daughter. This is something I started very recently with her. So I speak to her at the end of the day. You said before you go to sleep that you think of 3 things you would like to appreciate. So I ask her sometimes, okay, do you like to tell me or do you like to think for yourself what you're appreciating about your day today? So sometimes she likes to share it out loud. Sometimes she just says, yes, I have a few things. So I leave it at that. So, but here I'm trying to help her create something for herself. So as much as you were saying about us doing it ourselves, we can also partner with someone else. Maybe with a friend, maybe with a sibling, maybe with your children, where you can help others also grow in this practice. Perhaps another thing is, okay, journaling is something lots of us do. So we write. So when we read again, we can go back to that memory and it recreates that experience for us, right? So journaling is one good way. You see it visually, you can read it out and auditorily experience it. Kinesthetically, you feel it when you write it. Another way of doing that would be maybe having a gratitude jar, maybe on your table, a special place in your house, where you write something that you are grateful for and put it in the jar, where you can open up and read in a moment where you really need that feeling of gratitude and appreciation. So there is a lot that will pour into your heart in a moment like that. So I read recently in an article where a therapist says she has introduced this concept of drawing your hands, the 10 fingers, and then writing for each finger something that she is grateful for. So different people adopt different ways in which they would like to anchor this thought of gratitude or create that practice of gratitude. What we're essentially doing is creating that positive energy in us and rewiring our brain and creating neuron pathways to better embrace this practice. So I think I've gone over time as well. Anything anybody would like to share? I'd like to invite you all to share your thoughts, ideas. Yes. Right.
So, do you need to really find your inner calling in terms of gratitude? Because all what you offer, like what you mentioned earlier, we also seek appreciation. Do you really need to seek that appreciation when you are on a platform of offering gratitude? Do you need to be very conditional to seek appreciation?
So here, seeking appreciation from others, is that what you're saying, Riaz?
Yeah. Now, if you are on a quest to drive or engage in gratitude, in doing either many things, we'll say a coaching conversation like we all do, we do it free of charge, we don't charge, and we come. Or even in a busy traffic lane, we offer some money to somebody who's asking money, and they just take it and go. They don't even say thank you. So do we have to be conditional so that they also endorse what you are doing? Thank you, God bless you, kind of thing, or you keep doing it. You find your inner calling, a higher purpose, and you just unleash your gratitude.
Yes, I would say that is entirely a personal choice. Thank you very much for bringing that question. So when we engage, so if, like you said, we give money to a beggar on the road, and we do it with a good intention, we are creating that neurotransmitters are being released in our brain.
Correct.
So whatever it creates within our system, the positivity that we generate within our system is what will bring the result within us, right? The happiness, the joy that we experience, and as a result, how it adds to creating that equilibrium, like Andrea spoke about, between your physical, emotional well-being and social well-being. So it creates who you are. So essentially, I wouldn't say that it is necessary for us to expect that from the other person, because we are creating it within ourselves. Well, if that person takes the time and the trouble to say thank you, perhaps it generates more for that person rather than for us. I wouldn't say that it's not generating anything for us, because we will also feel the gratitude, but it's a two-way thing, like any communication.
You were earlier saying on Einhorn's thing, find that value, find that strength, that focus on that, and keep doing that. So similarly, do you need to discover your inner calling? What's your calling? Everybody has a calling. You don't know that, right? The moment you arrive at that, you will become very purposeful, and you keep doing that, irrespective of you get appreciation back or not. And that itself will generate a lot of enthusiasm in you, enrich you in doing so.
Most definitely. I totally agree with you on that. As coaches, I'm sure we all experience that. Each moment we sit for a conversation and see a transformation happening, I'm sure.
Right.
Yes. Thank you, Riaz. Appreciate you bringing that.
Okay, Shiyara,
Yes,
can I just say something there, because I
sure.
love what is being shared, and I'm just thinking. So I think this purpose and kind of really searching for what is higher than, or what is more than us, what is beyond us, is, I think, a quest, right? And it's a continuous journey. And I believe, like when Riaz, you shared that, for me, I think that quest gives us that internal validation, and I think that's very powerful. Because even in the work context, we have this question all the time. External gratification and appreciation from others is something sometimes we hear especially teams say, oh, I'm not appreciated. And it is a constant struggle sometimes, like wanting that appreciation from outside. And then I think if we can nurture that inner appreciation and higher purpose, that naturally gets inculcated and nurtured. So yeah, I think it's a quest, because there's never like, for me, I think there's never an end point to that. We keep looking for deeper meaning and purpose. And I think if we work on it and journey on that, there's a lot of internal gratification that happens naturally in that process. So that's what I felt. And yeah, I love that perspective of purpose and how we can bring internal gratification there.
Yes, thank you very
I
much.
would like to add something to what Andrea is saying. See, we are in leadership coaching. We measure how leaders offer something to their teams unconditionally.
Yes.
We'll say something like, we say there's a bad weather, like never-ending rain, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and you hear floods. And as a leader, you will see that everybody reaches home safe, right? You're going beyond the call of duty, and you're calling everyone, hope you found your transport or somebody dropped you. And we'll say almost 7:38, I'm still in office. And now I wonder that nobody has called me to check whether I reached home, right? Now, we have a measurement quotient for that. We have one of the assessment tools, Andrea, maybe I should share with you. You are offering gratitude, but are you seeking that gratitude from others as well? So if that score is over what you're offering, they say leadership effectiveness is not that great.
Yes.
So you're doing something in exchange of a return, maybe a thank you or a thank you boss or something like that.
Yes.
So on effective leaders, what we find is give more. The more you give, the more you are leaving a footprint. No one needs to thank you,
Most definitely. Thank you, Riaz, for sharing that with us.
Thanks.
I think it's valuable for everyone here. Andy, were you saying something? Sorry. Okay, great. So I think we've gone way over time. So this is an invitation for all of you to embrace the power of gratitude, be with it, and see what changes it will bring for you. And thank you. My greatest appreciation to all of you for taking time off, being with us, engaging in this discussion, and exploring how gratitude can help us for our well-being. See you all again at our next webinar. Thank you once again. Goodbye.
I'm grateful
I
for
think it's a smart question.
I am.
Draw on the piece of paper in front of you something or someone you are grateful for. Taking the time for gratitude is so important for our peace of mind and our happiness. And it's a great way to remind ourselves how lucky we are for what we have and who we have in our lives. Afterwards, we're going to share what we've drawn with the rest of the class. Let's begin. Wonderful class. Now, who would like to come up first and share what you're grateful for? Me. Yes, Sarah, come on up.
I'm thankful for trees because they give me oxygen.
That's wonderful, Sarah. Thank you so much. Who would like to go next? Jason, come on up.
Thank you, my parents, because without them, I wouldn't even be here. And also, they help with my homework, and I love them. I'm grateful for chocolate.
Okay, Rebecca. Thank you. Simon, why don't you come up and share with the class what you're grateful for? Come on up, Simon. I'll be right up here with you. What are you grateful for, Simon? Would you like to play a game with your classmates to see who can guess whose hand you drew? Would you like that? All right, class. Can anyone guess whose hand Simon drew?
I think it's the hand of a policeman because they protect us and keep us safe. I think it's Simon's hand because he's grateful to have a hand. Is it the hand of God? It's your hand, Miss Sanders.
Thank you, everyone. Hope to see you at our next session. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Welcome. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Welcome.
Thank
Bye.
you, Shiyara. Lovely session.
Thank you. Bye.